Hello, good evening, Gilbert. How are you? Is everything okay?
Hi, teacher. We're fine.
Hey, great. That's good to know, Gilbert. So let's start with today's practice. Again, we have two options, but this time we're going to try to work as we worked on the reading the last one. Today we're going to try to work with some listening. All right, and we're going to try to explain those details together. I'm going to share my screen so that we can watch today's video and try to work that together. All right, it's the same logic, but first I'm going to ask you a question, Gilbert, to know what you know about this one. This video is going to be about water. All right, water. Of course, water is important, but according to you, try to explain in English, please, Gilbert. Why is important to drink water? Why is it important to drink water, Gilbert? What do you say?
Mm, for here,
Yes, for health in general, right? Good.
yeah.
And what is beneficious there, or try to
Uh,
give me some reasons.
hydration.
Good, very good. For
Uh,
example, what is the amount of water that you need to be with good hydration, to be hydrated? What do you say? You need 1 liter, 2 liters. How much water do you need to be hydrated?
is depend.
All right, on what, for example? It depends on what.
Um, del peso y la estatura, ¿no? De la persona.
Good, you can say that one. I'm going to help you out, Gilbert, so that you have that vocabulary. So it depends on the weight. Okay, the weight means peso, and the height. Height means altura. All right, it depends, and it's in the chat. So it depends on the weight, and it depends on the height. Okay, good. So according to those elements, right, you may need to drink a certain amount of water, right? And for example, Gilbert, you don't need to give me details, but according to your weight and according to your height, how much water do you think that you need to drink daily, Gilbert?
Uh, 1 or 2 liters per day.
Okay, good. And do you do it? Do you drink every day 1 to 2 liters more a day?
Yes, in the gym.
Okay, good. So when you do exercise, you take advantage and you drink water, right?
Yes.
Good. I imagine that you also have a diet when you are at the gym, right? Not only water, but you have a special food that you need to eat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Again, that's something extra, but here I wanted to go into that topic, water, and why it is important. So let's listen, please, to this Gilbert, and here they are going to explain about water and the composition of human beings related to water, all right, and why it's important for our bodies. So here we go. Let's listen to this, please.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, so only until that part. I'm going to play it again, lo vamos a reproducir nuevamente, and try to get this information, please, Gilbert. Tell me first, what are the elements? Okay, there are 4 elements. Try to tell me the 4 elements, the 4 aspects that are like important to know how much water we have in our bodies. all right? Then try to tell me the percentage of water that adults have in their bodies, and also try to tell me the percentage of water that babies have in their bodies. All right, so one more time, and we're going to answer those questions. Here we go.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, so until that part, Gilbert, what can you tell me about this part of the video? What do you say?
The location, BM.
Good, that's the one of the elements. Good location, the BDM. Well, what else? Two more.
Your live and sex.
Okay, good. Now, what do you think is the meaning of BMI? All right, it's going to be BMI. So what do you think is BMI, Gilbert? Again, location, BMI, age, right? That, good. Age and sex, right? These are four factors, unos cuatro elementos, that are going to tell us how much water we have in our bodies, ¿no? Que nos dicen cuánta agua tenemos en nuestro cuerpo. But what do you think is the meaning of BMI, Gilbert? What do you say? It's related to what you told me, Gilbert. Remember, I asked you, right, how much water we need to drink, and you told me it depends on two things, right? One of them is this one, Gilbert. What do you say?
Puede ser como un indicador.
Yeah, it's an indicator. It's an index, correct? Index, indicator. To what? An indicator of what? An index of what?
Indicator the water in the water.
Okay, close that one, cercano a eso, pero en realidad eso nos tiene que decir cuánta agua tenemos. So, it depends on location, age, sex, and this is the body mass index, all right? El índice de masa corporal, all right? Body mass index. So, good. These are the four factors, the four elements that tell us how much water we have in our bodies. No cuánta agua tomamos, pero sí cuánta agua tenemos en nuestro cuerpo, right? So location, body mass index or fat index, age, and sex. Good. Now the second thing, Gilbert, what is the percentage of water in adults? What do you say?
Repeat this.
Yes. What is the percentage of water in adults? Is it 20%, 50%, 60, 70? What is the percentage?
55% or 60%.
All right, good. So adults have that percentage. And what about the babies? What is the percentage in babies?
75%.
Good, very good. And something happens with babies, Gilbert, right? They are 75%, but what happens in the first year of the baby? What happens in the first year of the baby?
65%.
Exactly, right? So you're going to try to repeat this with me, Gilbert. Try to say the percentage reduces, no, el porcentaje, the percentage reduces to 65%. Let's repeat that one, please.
The percentage reduced 65%.
Good, right? To 65%. Good. So we have everything. So far, I think we're doing good, Gilbert. Do you have any questions until this part?
No.
All right. Now, in this next one, en ese siguiente 4 minutos, trata de prestar atención porque van a mencionar ahora beneficios específicos para el cuerpo y algunos porcentajes de cuánta agua hay en ciertos órganos comparando con otras cosas. All right, that's the idea here. But try to give me that information. So here we go.
The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even seemingly dry human bones are 31% water.
All right, so it's only until that part. I'm going to play this again, Gilbert. All right, one more time. But again, try to give me the following information. First, what are the benefits of water in our body? And second, you're going to try to tell me the percentage, right? Porcentaje, the percentage in some organs, en algunos órganos, right? And the comparison, la comparación. So one more time.
To stay healthy. The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even seemingly dry human bones are 31% water.
Good. So what can you tell me about this part, Gilbert? How can you explain this part?
pH is circulation, the core. 2 is indication, and O is brain.
All right. What about the percentages? Do you remember the percentage of water in some organs and the comparison?
3/4 4.
Okay, 3/4 of water where? What has 3/4 of water?
The brain here.
Oh, the heart. Okay, brain and heart. So 3/4 water. Good. What else? What? Yeah, tell me.
Banana.
Okay, okay. The comparison is with a banana. What else? What other organs did they mention?
The other is not remember, but the upper is 31% represent.
Okay, I'm going to show you that part. You're not bad in that part. So good. The brain and the heart, right? 3/4 water. And the comparison, as you were saying, Gilbert, it's compared to a banana. It means 75%, right? 75% of water in the brain, in the heart, and also in a banana. Good. The next one is lungs, right? Pulmones, the lungs. So lungs are similar to an apple, right? Because lungs, this is different. They have 83%.
83%.
Exactly. And lastly, you were talking about, how do you say huesos in English, Gilbert? What do you say?
Bones.
The bones, correct. So the bones, they seem to be dried, right? Parecen secos, they seem to be dried, but no, bones are actually composed of 31% water, right? And that's it. The only last thing that I wanted to show you then, Gilbert, is some vocabulary that you can see in the caption. So lungs, right? This is lungs, all right? Lungs. The bones, you know that one, right? The bones. This one, don't forget, the brain and heart.
Heart.
Exactly. And this one you read and you write like this, right? 3/4 water.
3/4 water.
Exactly. That's it, Gilbert. Do you have any questions about these words and this part of the video?
No, teacher.
Great, that's it. Let's finish here then, please, Gilbert. As always, I'm going to share the survey for you to fill it out. Let's do it, and then you may leave today's practice.
Okay, teacher.
Great. Thank you
Bye.
very much. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Hello, good evening, Mauricio. How are you? Is everything okay?
Good evening, teacher. Yes, I think is everything okay.
Great, that's great to know, Mauricio. So today we're going to practice with this video. Again, we're going to try to analyze it together. I'm going to play only certain seconds of the video without captions, only listening, and then you're going to try to explain everything you were able to understand, and I'm going to ask some questions about it. All right? Do you have any questions about this dynamic?
No, teacher.
All right, so let's begin. This is going to be the first part.
Okay.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, up to that part, let's take that as the introduction of this video. What can you tell me in general, Mauricio, of what you were able to understand so far?
That this article or this video is going to talk about water, maybe the importance of water because it is present in everything, and like the cells and the nature, the persons.
Okay, good, exactly. They are mentioning the importance of water. Just be careful with this word. It's going to be the nature, right? Good. In all nature, we can find water, right? Or all living beings, animals, right? Plants, and many types of organisms are related to water. Good. Now, we're going to try to go even deeper in the introduction to understand not everything and every word perhaps, but the main ideas in between. So, do you remember some of the elements or factors that are related to how much water we have in our bodies, Mauricio?
Yes, in human beings is 60%. In babies is 75, I think.
Okay, then that's the direct percentage, right, that you're telling me, and it's correct. In adults, right, or adults, the percentage goes from 55 to 60, correct? And in babies, it's 75. But something happens in the first year, right? What happens in the first year of the baby?
I don't remember, teacher.
Okay,
Maybe
it's
I
okay.
didn't hear that.
Good. No, it's very good. You have most of the information. So you're going to pay attention to two things, all right? Two details. I'm going to play it again. Try to get what the 4 factors that determine, all right, the level of water or the percentage of water are. Okay, there are 4 factors. And try to tell me what happens in the first year of the baby. Those 2 things, all right? So here we go.
And how much moisture
one
and
more
ice
time from here.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish, but their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, so what can you tell me now about those two things, Mauricio? First, try to tell me about the 4 factors that are related to the percentage of water we have. And second, try to tell me what happens in the first year of babies.
Oh, okay. The 4 factors are location, gender, age, I think, and I don't remember the 4th one. And the second one is that babies in the first year drops the level of water from 75 to 65%.
Okay, great. Great. I think we have everything. We're going to look for that detail that you were telling me, Mauricio, by taking a look at this. So good. You told me location, correct. You told me gender or sex, as they said it, right? Good. And we have age. Okay, so location, then sex, gender, and sex. Now it's missing this one. What do you think that this is? BMI.
I don't know, teacher. I don't know because
All right, we're going
it
to learn
was a
again.
new expression for me. That's why I couldn't remember it easily.
Good, and it's great. Also, the intention, right, of watching and listening to this video is to get some new vocabulary or to reinforce the vocabulary that we know. Also, pronunciation, right? It has a lot of advantages. So, I'm going to play only this part, please, Mauricio. And I know even if you don't know the expression, I know that you know the words separated. Try to only get the word, okay? The 2 words that are composed there.
Okay.
Factors like location, fat index, age, and sex. Location, fat index, age, and sex. Location, fat index, age, and sex.
So, what do you say?
Fat index.
Fat index. Good. And what do you think is fat index?
Maybe the level of I don't know if it's correct. Level of grass or
Okay. Yes, and in that case, right, that word wouldn't be okay. You can only say the level of fat, or in this case, perhaps this is going to be even clearer. BMI is the body mass index. Okay, the body mass index.
Okay.
And everything is related, not entirely, right, because of course this element is more complex, but in the chat, I sent that one, right, to the weight. Not all the weight, right? Because weight is very complex. It is related to many things, not only fat, but it's related to weight and the level of fat or the body mass index that we have in our bodies. Right? Good. And the second part, yes, the first year, the percentage drops from 75 to 65, right? Good. I don't know if you have any questions so far about this first part, Mauricio. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, everything okay.
Great. Now, in this next part, please, you're going to pay attention to the following, Mauricio. First, try to listen to the 3 benefits, 3 big benefits related to water and to our bodies, okay? And then try to get the percentages of some organs, the amount of water they have, and the comparison with some other fruits or elements. Okay, so here we go.
And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even seemingly dry human bones are 31% water.
All right, so I know that the second part perhaps even can be easier than the first one. Perhaps you got it, but I'm going to play one more time, all right? And let's remember the elements that we have to remember, the 3 benefits of water in our bodies, and the percentage and the comparison, right, of some organs and elements that are like them. So one more time, here we go.
Okay.
The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even seemingly dry human bones are 31% water.
All right, now up to that part, Mauricio, before watching all those things there, what can you tell me then about this next part?
Related to the facts that I should remember, or
Yes, first can be in general if you want to explain everything that you remember, or you can start answering right the things first. Try to tell me the benefits of water in certain parts of our bodies, and then related to the percentage of water in some organs and the comparison. You can talk about that, or in general, what you understood.
oh, okay. In general, I think that is what we were expecting, the importance of water and a lot of many facts that are relating to human beings or important or for example, in the examples told the equivalence of a bone or some organs of the body, and related for the benefits, its first was lubrication of the body. I think specifically the bones joints, the bones joints. The second one was regulating temperature. I don't remember the third one. And the percent was the brain and heart is 3/4 of water. Bones was 31, and I don't remember the the word because it's a new organ for me, but it was I think 75%.
Okay, good, good. I think we have almost everything. The detail we're going to see now. Good. And the organ, let me show you that first. All right, let's start with that one. It's the lungs. All right, the lungs. So lungs are similar to an apple. It's a little bit more than 75. They are 83%. All right, so lungs, that's very important. Good. Lungs are 83, as an apple is, and the brain, the heart are 3/4. Good. And what is the equivalent in percentage of 3/4, Mauricio?
A banana.
Exactly, a banana. And if you want to change 3/4 to percentage, what is the percentage of 3/4?
75%.
Great, right? So this is the 75. Good. So the brain and the heart, 75%, the lungs, 83, and the bones, 31. Good. Now, before taking a look at the captions for the first part, these are the elements. So you were telling me very well, lubrication and cushion of joints, good. The regulation, right, of temperature, right? The stress in the word temperature has to be at the beginning, right? The regulation of temperature. And this one, I know that you were not able to hear the last one, so I'm going to play one more time, only that part in Mauricio, and you're going to try to explain.
Okay.
All right, so here we go.
and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. And to nourish the brain and spinal cord. And to nourish the brain and spinal cord.
So what can you tell me about that last element, Mauricio?
I don't know, teacher. I am confusing the word and I am listening nurse like
Like the profession, right?
yes, like the medical profession.
Okay. Actually, the root of that word is related to this word. And this is actually a French word because English is composed by German, also by French. Okay, there's a lot of French in English. And if you know a little bit of French, you're going to realize that this word is related to nourriture or nourriture. All right, and nurture means nourish. To nourish is to feed, okay, to give food, like when you give food to your pet, right? That's to nourish. All right, to give the nutrients that that element needs to be alive or to keep working. All right, so water nourishes the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, and that's it. And also here you have an interesting expression here, cushion, right? Cushion is related to, for example, a pillow, right? For example, your head doesn't touch the bed. The pillow cushions, right? Your head and the bed. All right, it's like a soft movement. That's to cushion.
Okay.
All right, so it cushions. Those two words perhaps are important for you to know, Mauricio, but that's it. Do you have questions before finishing? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, is everything clear?
Great, that's good to know. So next class, we're going to continue. We're going to learn more about the benefits of water and some other interesting details about hydration, dehydration, and well, that. To finish, please, as always, Mauricio, the survey is down below next to chat. Let's fill out the questions and then you may leave the conversation.
Okay, teacher.
Very good. Thank you for doing it. Thanks for being here. Have a good night and see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye, teacher.
Bye-bye. Take care. Hello, good evening, Rodrigo. How are you? Is everything okay?
Teacher, good evening. Yes, it's okay.
Great, that's good to know, Rodrigo. So this week we're going to work with this one, all right? I know that perhaps it's something that we need to work on, but you're going to see that this video is going to help a lot in understanding certain words. And also I know that we're going to learn a lot of new vocabulary and way of pronouncing certain words, all right? That's why it's very, very important to work with listening exercises as well. So I have one question. As you realize, and perhaps if you will listen a little bit, we're going to talk about H2O, right? Water. In your own words, Rodrigo, why is water important in our lives or in general in life?
Because the water is the vital element in the life, and without water we cannot survive. I
Right.
don't know if
Survive, it's correct.
yes, so it's necessary to live, for living.
Great, good. All that correct as well, Rodrigo. Great. To live or for living. Very good. And yes, you're going to say only the word instead of vital, you're going to say like vital. All right, it's a vital element to live. Good. So for surviving is essential, right? Crucial, vital. You can use any of those expressions, and you're right. The second question, very simple, perhaps you know because this is like general knowledge, no, or more or less. How much water do humans, all right, in general, needs to drink to be hydrated or healthy? What do you say? And why do you believe?
Um, between 2 and 3 liters per day.
Good, correct. And why, right? That's the general knowledge that we have now. But why? Why do we need to drink from 2 to 3 liters daily?
Because our organism need for to do the functions for the stomach, the breath, and all of ours is dependent of the water. So we need for that.
Good, and we need it for that reason, right? And we need it for that reason. Great. Only be careful with this word. In the last part of the stomach, I know we have a ch, right? But instead of ch, it's better if you make that like a k, like only one k, all right? Like a stomach, only like that. Good. For all functions in our body, right? For example, the stomach and many other organs, yes, we need water for them to function properly. And also because we waste and we spend water by doing some things. And that's what we're going to learn or perhaps reinforce here, Rodrigo. Let me play now the first part for you. And again, try to listen to these elements in the first part, Rodrigo. First, if you want, you can use a notebook or a Word document. Try to tell me what the 4 factors are related to how much water we have in our bodies, all right? There are 4 factors that are going to determine how much water we have in our bodies. And second, try to tell me the percentage of water in adults, in babies, and what happens in babies in the first year, all right? More or less that. Again, 4 factors and percentage of water in adults, babies, and the first year of babies. So with that information, here we go.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how?
All right, it's until that part. I'm going to play it once again so that you can complete the possible missing information. Let's remember the 4 factors or elements and the percentage of water in adults, babies, and the first year of babies.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, so what do you say, Rodrigo? What can you tell me about this part of the video and the elements that I was mentioning?
The water is necessary for all the soil, the ice caps, the and other things, the belts. Yeah, it depends of the location, sex, and other thing. I don't remember. But in adults, the water is between 50 to 60%. In babies, the water is 75%, and when the baby was 1 year, the water is present in 65% in the body.
Okay, good, good, very good. I think you have all the information, just some details, but it's very good. I'm going to show you the picture so that we can try to guess what are the four elements. So you told me, right? What are the two elements that you mentioned from these four, Rodrigo?
Location and gender.
Good. So we have location, very good. And we have gender, or even they call it sex, right? So sex and location, good. Now, here, of course, this can be obvious, right? What do you think is the third element, the third factor?
The years.
Or you call it this in general, the age, right? The age. Good. So it's location, age, sex. Now, what about this one? What about this one? Try to get it. I'm going to play only that part. Try to get that word. Actually, it's two words, but try to listen to it, and then you're going to try to explain what it means.
Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, fat index, age, and sex, fat index, age, and sex.
All right, so what do you say?
I don't know, fucking decks. I listen, but I don't know what's this.
Good, it's correct, right? If you write it, what do you think is the meaning of fat index? Is in the chat. Also,
Oh, okay. So, maybe it's the grasa. Maybe I cannot the word in English.
okay, good. No, actually, the word is fat. Okay, fat is grasa. All right, so good.
Okay.
And also, this one is the acronym. Okay, this is called an acronym, right? This is the acronym for body mass index. Okay, body mass index, like índice de masa corporal. All right, so this is the body mass index or the fat index. So great. So these are the four factors that are going to tell us how much water we have. And good, you told me 50, right? But it's going to be 55, from 55 to 60, good, in adults. And in babies, great, it's 75, but in the first year, it changes to 65, right? So you can talk about two things, porcentaje, and the percent, right? 65%. And in that one, the stress has to be in the last part, right? Instead of percent, it's going to be percent. That's it. I don't know if you have any questions about this part, Rodrigo. Let me know, please.
No, it's okay.
All right, good. I know that we only have 1 minute, but we're only going to listen to the second part, please. And you're going to explain as much as you can. All right, it's going to be in general, and the next conversation, that is Thursday, is going to be to see this in detail. So here we go. This is the second part, very briefly.
Healthy. The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even seemingly dry human bones are 31% water.
All right, and just by listening to that for only one time, Rodrigo, what can you tell me about that part of the video?
Maybe that the water join or allow the well, the joint of the bones maybe regulate the temperature of the body and refresh the bread, maybe, and there are many percentage of the water in each of these organisms.
It's okay, organs. If you're going to say that word percentage in plural, then it's going to be percentages, right? There are many different percentages that are shown in the video, right? And they show some organs. Good. What organs do you remember that they showed, Rodrigo?
The bread, the bones, and the heart.
Okay. Just be careful with two words. It's going to be brain, right? In the N, it ends in N, brain, and also good, but it's going to be the last one, the heart, like only a heart. Okay, so let's repeat those two words, please, Rodrigo. Brain and heart.
Brain and heart.
Very good. And also this one, before leaving, the word I know, temperatura, but it's going to be like this. In the first part is the stress, and the T is very strong, like temperature, temperature. Let's repeat that one, please.
Temperature.
Good. In the first part, right? Temperature. And good. So lubrication of joints, right? Articulaciones, regulation of temperature. And here it's a new word, it's nourish. It's something similar to alimentar, all right? Nourish the brain and the spinal cord. And I'm going to show you the words to finish today, Rodrigo. Nourish, all right? Alimentar, the brain and the spinal cord. And that's it, Rodrigo. Do you have any questions before finishing today? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's okay.
Great. As always, please, Rodrigo, let's fill out the survey. It's already there. Answer those questions, and then you may leave the class.
Okay, it's done.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Have a good night and see you tomorrow, Rodrigo. Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. All right, and I see you there, Joanna. Good evening, Joanna. How are you? Is everything okay?
Hello, teacher. Good evening.
Great. Hey, how are you? How do you feel today?
Okay, good.
Great. That's good to know, Joanna. Let's begin then with today's practice. We have a new video, all right, to start practicing new vocabulary. You know the logic, Joanna. We're going to play only some parts of the video so that you remember how to pronounce it, okay? I'm going to start, no, let's start from the beginning. But I have some questions before starting, Joanna. This video, it's about water, okay, and the importance of water. So this is the question. Why is water important, Joanna? Why is water important? What do you say?
The water is important for for life and for life, the person and animals and everything, teacher.
Okay, good. That's a good answer. The water is important for life, right? It's important para la vida en general. Good. It's important for people, right? Instead of person, it's better if you say people, not las personas.
Okay.
For people, for animals, and for everything. Good, you can say, right? For animals, for plants, right? Or if you want to say everything in general, no, si quieres decir todo en general, you can say for living beings. It's in the chat. Eso significa para los seres vivos. ¿Ya? Living being significa seres vivos. So good. Water is important for all living beings, right? People, humans, you can say, right? Humans, animals, insects, plants, and any living being. Good. The second question, Joanna. How much water do you need to drink a day? How much water do you need to drink a day?
Mm, mm, okay. Okay. The people need. Okay. The people need regular to. Okay. Um, Teacher. How do you say in English? Litros.
Liters, liters.
2 liters. Liters. Okay. The water.
Good. It's going to be liters of water, right? Okay, good. So you can say this one, Joanna. It's correct. Humans or people need 2 liters of water a day, right? 2 liters of water a day. Good. So one more time, give me the answer one more time, please, Joanna.
Mm, the people need 2 liters. Okay. The water for day.
Okay. In that one, before water, you're going to use the preposition of. All right. So 2 liters of water, and then you're going to say directly a day. A day is like saying for day, pero no decimos for day, sino vamos a decir directamente a day. O podrías decir per day. Uno de esos dos, en lugar de for. Okay, so it's going to be people, ¿no? Y recuerda, people ya es plural, entonces ya no usamos la S después de people. Va a ser directamente, people need 2 liters of water per day. O la otra opción, 2 liters of water a day. Okay, so one more time, please, John. The last
one. People need 2 liters of water a day.
Good, very good, exactly. Great. Now let's go to the exercise, John. Thank you very much. We're going to listen. So one more time, please, pay attention. You're going to try to repeat everything so that you have all the words, okay? And this is for practicing English and for practicing listening and speaking. So this is the first part, Joanna.
Water is virtually everywhere.
Let's start with that one. Very short. One more time.
Water is virtually everywhere.
And the last time.
Is virtually everywhere.
So what can you tell me about this first part, Joanna?
Water is virtually every day. Is virtually every day.
Close to that one, cercano a eso, Joanna, pero instead de everyday va a ser everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, correct, good. Water is virtually everywhere, ¿no? El agua está virtualmente en todo lado, right? Everywhere, good. Let's keep going.
From soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. From soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. From soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies.
So, I know there are a lot of new words, puede que hay muchas nuevas palabras ahí, but in general, Joanna, what did you understand there?
The water is in the cups ice or
Good, it's okay. The ice caps, good.
in the Mm, mm, the earth, what?
Okay, and what else? What is the last part? What is this one?
In the air. No,
All right, the air. So let's listen one more time. You have elements, good, ice caps, the earth, but instead of earth, no hay una palabra que usan para decir suelo, and it's going to be soil, but let's listen one more time. It's good. Let's do this together.
To the cells inside our
Sorry, from this part.
water is virtually everywhere.
All right, and let's join this time with captions. So, water is virtually everywhere, right? The first part.
From soil moisture and
From soil moisture, this is humedad, okay? Moisture. Soil is suelo, okay? From soil moisture, desde la humedad del suelo, and ice caps. This is ice.
and ice caps.
These are ice caps, ¿no? Tenemos en nuestras montañas también, ice caps.
To the cells inside our own bodies.
To the cells, these are cells, right? Células inside our own bodies. Hasta en las células dentro de nuestros propios cuerpos, right? Own, propios, bodies, cuerpos, right? Inside, dentro. So let's repeat everything. I'm going to read one more time.
Virtually everywhere. From soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies.
So let's read it from this part, please, John. So you said this one. Read this one more time, please.
Water is virtually everywhere.
Good. This one.
From soils, moisture, and ice caps.
Good. It's very good. I think it's very good. This one. Solamente vamos a mejorar esta palabra, pero está muy bien. Pero para que sea incluso más natural, moisture. Esta T se convierte casi como una H, ¿no? Moisture. Moisture. One more time, please.
Moisture.
Okay, good. The next one. Sorry, over here. Good. This one, please.
On the cells inside our own bodies.
All right, and this word is going to be own, our own bodies. One more time, please.
Our own bodies.
Great, right? Nuestros propios cuerpos, the cells inside our own bodies, las células dentro de nuestros propios cuerpos. So, water is everywhere, right? El agua está en todo lado. Así que ya sabes, si quieres decir en todo lado, everywhere, everywhere. Good, let's keep going, please, Johanna. At least one more thing.
Cells inside our own bodies.
From this part, right? Desde esta parte.
Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex.
So, what about that part, Joanna? What do you listen there?
Dependent, their location, fat, let's see, in age. That's it.
There's only one more word, but it's good. Very good. Location. You're going to listen to this one. I'm going to put on the captions, okay? But it was very good. Instead of dependent, it's going to be depending, con ing, okay? Con ing, like this. Depending on factors like location, ¿no? Y esto igual te lo muestro porque puedes usar cuando tengas ideas en la cabeza, no sepas cómo decir, estas son expresiones buenas. Dependiendo de factores como, right? Depending on factors like, dependiendo de factores como location, la ubicación, fat index, ¿no? El índice de, no se puede ver bien aquí, aquí está, fat index, ¿no? El índice de grasa o body mass index, el índice de masa corporal, right? Fat index. Yes, age, la edad, and sex, ¿no? Y el género o el sexo. So, dependiendo de factores como la ubicación, el índice de grasa, la edad y el sexo. Va a depender algo de esos factores. Pero repitamos. One more time, please, Joanna. Let's repeat everything. From this part, please, Joanna. Let's read.
Depending on factors like location,
Good.
fat index,
Fat index, very good. The third one, sorry, over here.
Age and sex.
All right, so this one is what? So it's right, location, fat index. What is the third one? How do you say that?
years.
Instead of years va a ser años, pero edad is age.
Oh.
Okay, age, right? What's your age? Age significa edad. Good. Por eso también decimos 5 years old, okay, 50 años de edad. O preguntas, what's your age? Or what's the age? Edad. So good. So one more time, please, without the captions, Joanna. Depending on factors like what? What are the 4 factors, Joanna?
The location and fact, okay, fact and
Next.
Fact, okay. Next is age and the sex.
Great. Very good. So only the second one I'm going to remind you, solamente te recuerdo el segundo, is this one. All right, it means índice. All right, índice de grasa o índice de masa corporal. All right, the fat index. Good. That's it, Joanna, so far. Do you have any questions or comments before finishing? Let me know, please.
No, teacher.
Great. Were you able to complete the survey already? Did you answer the questions, Joanna?
Yes, teacher. I complete the survey. I enjoyed
the class. Good. When you join the class. Great. Perfect. Thank you very much, Joanna. So that's it. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow in class. All right?
Okay, teacher. See you.
Bye-bye. Good night. All right, so I'm here with you, Adriana. Good evening, Adriana. How are you? Is everything okay?
Hey, teacher. Oh, it's okay. I'm fine.
Great. That's good to know, Adriana. So before starting with today's practice, as you can see, today's practice is going to be about water. I have 2 questions mainly to start this, Adriana. First, why is water important, Adriana? In general, why is water important according to you? You can use your ideas and your own words.
The water is important because it's a research. No. Research, a vital resource.
Okay, good. A vital resource. Good. Vital resource. Great. Why do humans, for example, need to drink water? It's a vital resource, of course, but why? Why humans need to drink water? Why do we need water?
The humans need to water for hydrate.
Okay, good. You can say instead of that one, inactive, you can say like the passive voice, like to get hydrated, right? Yes. Humans need to drink water to get hydrated. Good, good. It's important to be hydrated, and because our organs and our body needs water to function, right, in general. Great. The second question, and the last one in general, this is the second big question. How much water do we need to drink a day, and why?
Usually I drink four, sometimes 3 or 4 liters, because my doctor say me this is better, that I can drink more water per day.
Okay, good. So from 3 to 4 liters a day, because your doctor told you, right, to do so. Good. Yes, every person needs to drink a very specific amount of water, right? And it's not like everybody have a special or has a special amount, but usually they say from 2 to 3, but sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, according to what you do, right? According to your condition and many other things. So that's what we're going to learn in this video, Adriana. I know that you know this information, but it's important to learn vocabulary and also to complement the knowledge that we have. So I'm going to start. In the first part, please, Adriana, pay attention to the following. You have to listen to this. First, try to listen to the 4 factors that determine how much water we have in our bodies. Okay, the 4 factors that determine how much water we have in our bodies. And second, try to tell me what is going to be the percentage of water that adults have in their bodies and that baby have in their bodies. All right, babies. That's it. Let's begin, please.
Babies.
Exactly. First adults and then babies, and also what happens in the first year of babies. All right, those elements. Everything is together in the same part. You're going to see. So here we go.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, so what can you tell me about it, Adriana? What were you able to get? And if you can answer the questions and those instructions that I was telling you at the beginning, you can do it. What do you say?
Teacher, ¿podemos escuchar otra vez?
Yes, no problem. We're going to listen to it again. Then let's remember, we need to listen to first. Yeah, tell me, Adriana.
Voy a tomar apuntes.
Yes.
Después me olvido. Ya.
It's good. So good. So one more time. First, the 4 factors, okay? The 4 factors that determine how much water we have in our bodies. And second, the percentage of water in adults and in babies, and also what happens in the first year with babies. Okay, so here we go once again.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, so what do you say? What were you able to get in this part?
Yeah. Dice, the video say that the water is all the places around the world. For example, under and up. Then also say that the humans are 55 or 60%, and babies, I don't know, babies babies are 75% when they born.
Great.
And
And what happens when they are 1 year old? Because you're right. Good. Adults, right? 55 to 60% water, baby 75% water. But when they are born, right? When they are born. But what happens when they are 1 year old?
no, eso no sé, teacher.
All right. But the question would be, do you think, Adriana, that the percentage of water increases or decreases in the first year
The baby
of the baby?
decreases.
It decreases, right? And it decreases at 10%. It means that it goes down from 75 to 65% in the first year of the baby. All right, so good. You have that information. It's very good, Adriana. Now, if I go to this part of the video, Adriana, and I show you these factors, and I ask you by showing you this picture, what are the 4 factors that determine the amount of water that we have in our bodies? What can you answer? What are these factors using these pictures?
The human, the men and women needs water. Since they born and BMI north southwest. I don't know.
Okay, so in this one, yes. In this one, if you realize we're talking about gender or sex, right? So it depends on the sex. If you are a man, you need you are a certain percentage of water. If you are a woman, you have a certain percentage of water, right? This one, yes, the years, right, that you are alive, or in other words, age, right? What's your age? I'm 20 years old, 30 years old. So according to your age, you have a percentage of water, right? Now these two, let's begin with this one. This is easier. North, right, south, west, east.
All the people around the world.
But also, what is the factor that determines then the amount of water? Location, right? This is location. So if you live in Bolivia, you're going to have a percentage of water. But if you live, for example, in Alaska, the percentage of water that you have is different. If you live in Brazil, it's different. If you live in China, it's different, right? So the location, the age, and the sex is going to change the amount of water that you have in your body. And the last one, BMI. What do you think BMI stands for, Adriana? What do you say?
I don't know, teacher.
There is a similar word. I'm going to play this part once again. They don't say BMI. They say other 2 words. Listen to those 2 words, and perhaps you're going to understand. Here we go.
Location, fat index, age, and sex. Factors like location, fat index, age, and sex. Factors like location, fat index, age, and sex.
So, what are they saying here?
Teacher, the second word is desk, or how I spell?
Close to that one, this one, they mentioned 2 words. It was fat index. All right? Fat index. So what is fat index? What do you say? Fat index.
D-E-C-K-S?
No, like this one. It's index. It's I-N-D-E-X. Fat index. So what do you think it is related to?
I don't know. That means dex.
If I tell you, for example, this is an acronym, right? Sigla acronym. And this stands for body mass index. What do you think is body mass index?
No sé qué significa index.
All right, I'm going to help you out with this one. This means índice de masa corporal. All right, that's index, índice. That's the body mass index or the fat index, el índice de grasa. All right, so it depends on that, on the location, the body mass index or the fat index, the age, and the gender or the sex that you have. Right, good. I don't know if you have any questions because that's everything in the first part, Adriana. Do you have any questions about this vocabulary?
No, teacher. Este índice de masa corporal, ¿cómo se escribe? O sea, ¿cómo se deletrea? D-I-X.
It's the same as in the chat, index. So it's going to be the body mass index, right? It's in the chat.
Yeah.
Exactly, that one. All right, so let's finish here, please, then, Adriana, if that's ready. Next class, we're going to see benefits of water in our bodies, some percentages in some organs that we have, and we're also going to see what happens with hydration and dehydration. All right, please, let's answer the questions down below in the survey, Adriana. It's down below next to chat. As soon as you finish that, you may leave the conversation.
Yes, teacher.
Great. Thank you for being here. Have a good night and see you tomorrow, Adriana.
See you tomorrow, teacher. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Take care. So let me see. I cannot see who's here. So, Reader, you're here. How are you, Reader? Good evening. Is everything okay?
Good evening, teacher. Everything okay?
Great. That's great to know, Reader. So, again, I have these two options to work with you, Reader, because I know we can work with you very well with any of these. So, I have this video about water to learn about the importance of water, the benefits of water in our bodies, and some details, right? And we have an article, another article related to this. It's related actually to the coronavirus, but they are talking about other pandemics and how they affected our brains. And they believe that it may happen in the same way with the coronavirus, all right? Because it happened with different pandemics. So which one do you want to work with, Reader? The article or the video about water? What do you say?
The video, teacher.
Okay, let's work with the video then. To work with the video, I have two questions, Reader, for you. The first question is, why is water important for living beings? Why is water important for living beings, Reader? What do you say?
Sorry, teacher, my microphone.
All right, don't worry. So what do you say, Reader?
I think why water is vital.
Correct, vital, vital.
For our health. I think
good, that one, and it's okay, right? It's good and it's vital for our health. You're right, but why? What do you think that water does in our bodies, Reader? What do you think that water does in our bodies in general? Again, I know that we are not perhaps experts in this topic, but using your own words, Reader, why? Oh yes, what does water do in our bodies? Why is it good for our health?
Water keep us hydrated, teacher. Hydrated.
That's going to be hydrated. Hydrated.
Hydrated. Yes.
Good. Very good, right? And that's perhaps the most important one, right? Water keep us hydrated. Great, great. Now, in order not to be dehydrated or in order not to have problems, reader, how much water do we need to drink a day?
How much, teacher?
Yes,
Me?
correct. Yes, in general, right? All human beings in general, or you, how much water you need to drink in general to be healthy and be hydrated?
2 liters.
All right, and do you do it? Do you usually drink 2 liters of water a day, reader?
Yes, teacher. I think I
Oh,
I drink water.
okay, good. And again, that's the end, right, of the questions. Great. And it's important, right? It's hard sometimes to get used to drinking 2 liters of water every day, but according to doctors, right, it's important to do so in order to be hydrated, right? And also not only to be hydrated, of course, being hydrated implies that you are healthy, that your organs and your body is working, that everything in your body is working correctly. Because as you may know also, humans are composed of a lot of water. So let's pay attention now to the video, please. And reader, in the first part, you're going to answer these questions. First, what are the 4 factors that determine how much water we have in our bodies? And second, you're going to try to tell me the percentage of water that adults have and babies. All right, so here we go. You can take notes if you want.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, so that's the first part. I'm going to play it again just to be sure that you have all the elements. But let's remember the elements that you need to pay attention to. First, the 4 elements that determine the amount of water we have in our bodies. And second, the percentage of water in adults and in babies. All right, so here it goes, the second time.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies?
All right, so that's it, reader. So what can you tell me so far in the video? What were you able to understand? And if you can answer the questions that I was asking, what do you say?
Water is everywhere. The people is in adults, water is present between 55 and 60%. In babies and 75%.
Okay, great. Very good. We have everything so far. Exactly. Water is everywhere in terms of percentage, right? In adults, you can find from 55 to 60, right, percent of water, and in babies 75. Now, the first question related to that, reader, which is correct. What happens in the first year of the baby? It is 75 when they are born. But what happens when they are 1 year old?
In babies, teacher.
Yes, correct, in babies. What happens when they are 1 year old?
In the first year, the water less.
Okay.
What do you mean disminuir, teacher?
Yeah, for that one, you can use many different expressions. First, you can say decreases, okay, reduces, okay, reduces, decreases, lesses. But the best one there, I think it's going to be either decreases or also drops down, okay? To drop down is also to decrease, okay? So drop down or decrease. So what do you say? How much is the percentage that it decreases to or it drops down?
65%.
Good. So tell me one more time the entire idea, please, reader, using one of those verbs.
In the first year, the water decreases 65%.
Okay, good, exactly. And if you say, for example, but decreases 65%, it means que baja un 65%. So it's better if you say decreases to, right? It decreases to baja a, right? Decreases to 65%. It means baja a esa cantidad.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Good. Great. So good. Now, I only have one more question, reader, and it's related to this part of the video. They were showing 4 factors that tell us how much water we have in our bodies. Because as you told me, adults, right, have between 55 and 60%. But what defines that? What determines that? These 4 factors determine that. So what are these 4 factors? Just by looking at this picture, reader, what do you say?
Age, sex, location, I don't remember.
Okay, the second one is new. I know that most of you don't know that one. I also learned about this one, all right, not long ago, because I don't know about those details. But I'm going to play this for you once again, reader, and try to get the word because it's different to what they are saying there. Here we go.
Like location, fat index, fat index, fat index, age.
So what do you listen there? What are they saying?
Okay. Fat index.
Good. And what is the fat index? How can you explain that?
Es que ni en español lo sé bien, teacher, pero índice de grasa, algo así, grasa corporal.
It's great. Exactly. Good. Also, I don't know how to explain that one, but yes, you can say, right? It's the amount or the level of fat that we have in our bodies. And it's related directly, not directly, I think, in the academic word, but it's related to the weight, right? Of course, not directly again, because weight includes the bones, the organs. The weight includes a lot of other elements that are taken into account, right? It's the general weight, but the fat index is related to that, right? So good. And what is this acronym, reader? Fat index is one way to call it, but what do you think is BMI? You already told me something in Spanish. What do you think is that?
I don't know, teacher.
All right, it's going to be, and perhaps you tell me if you understand it in Spanish, but I'm going to say in English, body mass index. Do you know what that is in Spanish?
Okay. Yes, índice de masa corporal.
Good, exactly, right? So that's the body mass index. So it depends on these four factors: the location, the body mass index or the fat index, the age, and the sex, right? That's going to determine whether you're going to have a certain percentage in your body, right? And it's going to be between 55 and 60% according to this video. But that will be it for today, reader. Do you have any questions or comments about the vocabulary in the video? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's clear.
Good. The next part, we're going to learn about some benefits of water, all right, in our bodies, the connection between that percentage and some organs, and also some things related to hydration and dehydration, all right, what happens in our bodies when it happens to us. That's it, reader. Please, the survey must be down below, as always, next to chat to fill it out. Do it, please. Let me know when you do it. Good.
Okay,
And if you
teacher.
did it, that will be it. Thanks for being here. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, teacher. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. And you are here, Camila. All right. So good evening, Camila. How are you?
Yes, good evening, teacher. Fine.
Great. It's great to know that, Camila. So let's begin this by trying to work what you were supposed to read or watch. What of those two activities were you able to do, Camila? Were you able to read the article or watch the video?
Well, I did both, but I think that I want to talk about the video.
Okay, very good. Let's talk about it then. What can you tell me first in general, Camila, about the video?
Well, the video talks mainly about if there is a future without bees.
Good. And what are the important elements mentioned there?
Well, it talks about that the bee numbers, the quantity of bees that we have in our planet is declining in a normal rate. And in Europe, for example, 1/3 of the food that we eat, that they eat, it depends of insects that pollinate the crops, I think, the fruits and the vegetables.
Okay, great, right? The crops, great. So we're facing with a big problem, right? Bees are very important because they pollinate, right, a lot of the main crops that we got, right, to eat the daily things that we eat, but many of them are facing extinction, mainly in Europe, but it's happening around the world. Now, in this podcast, they are discussing about that. They are talking about the importance of bees, and they were mentioning, and they were, of course, giving some definitions. If I ask you this, Camila, pollination, how can you define what pollination is?
According to what I remembered, pollination is the fact, in this case, that bees do when they move the pollen from one plant to another plant, and they reproduce. Actually, is like from the male plant to a female plant, and they after go to the process of fertilization.
Very good, great, great. So plants, right, should have like quotation marks sex, right? Because they grab the pollen from the male to the female one. And I have a question. Of course, this is related, perhaps not entirely to the podcast, but to common sense or to knowledge. Do bees then do this process consciously or unconsciously, Camila? What do
No,
you see?
actually, it's like a side effect because the bees approach to a flower or plant to extract their nectar. So after that, they have like a little pinches of pollen in their paws and in their wings and everything. And when they go to another plant, they pollinize it, like a side effect of
Great.
what they do.
Exactly, right? It's that they are like trying to get that nectar, as you're saying. Good. In the next part, also, I don't know if you were able to get until that part, they were talking about an alternative, right? We cannot depend on insects for the process of pollination and for fertilizing plants. So what is the alternative that some of them were mentioning?
They were talking about using drones. Like, well, what the female said, it was about that when it rains or when we have a lot of wind, bees can come out. So she was trying to make an experiment with drones that pollinized their crops actually.
Okay, great, great. And the last one, there was one question, right? It was something like how many of the top 50 crops, right, are pollinized or fertilized thanks to insects? And it was 35 out of 50, 40 out of 50, and 45 out of 50. Do you remember what the answer was to this one?
The correct answer was 40 of the 50 of the top crops, of the 50 top crops.
Okay, great. There you go. I think that's it. And also, I think just by itself, right, if you realize 6 Minute English is a podcast, but it's specialized to people who are learning English. That's why they are giving definitions all along the podcast, right? So I imagine that there are no questions about it, but do you have any questions or comments about that podcast? Let me know, please.
No, actually, I found it very interesting. I never knew about this kind of podcast. And actually, I was trying to see the other ones because the main topics are very interesting.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And actually, this is a suggestion that I give to all the ones who want to learn English is work with BBC English. BBC English has this program, the 6 Minute English, in which you can find a big variety of topics, all right, about anything that you want, and you can listen to them. Or also, if you go to the webpage, right, BBC Learning English, here, of course, you have the captions. But if you go to the webpage, you have the script and you can read it and also read the important definitions that are something apart from the podcast itself. But that's it. Take a look at the webpage. Perhaps you already did it, but try to look for many types of podcasts over there. But on my side, we're going to be working with this type of content and also with this one. Let me show it to you with TEDx. This is also something we try to use in class. And this is one of the questions, or sorry, one of the options that I have for you. This is a TEDx video.
TED Talk, I think. Oh, yeah.
Related to that, exactly. It's part of TED, but this is only TED Ed. These are videos specifically made for education. It means these are not like conferences, but are videos, again, in which there's one narrator explaining something, and there's a very illustrative video explaining what the person is saying. All right, so it's very interesting. Again, this can be sometimes, no, it's not basic. I wouldn't say that it's basic, but it's very like good, all right, when you want to start with English or when you want to get new words. So the options that I have for you today are the following, Camila. First is this article, again, from the BBC. It's, again, a very new article. And the headline says, how past pandemics may have caused, Parkinson's, all right? And the other option is this video that it's about water, the importance of water, the benefits in the body, what happens with hydration, dehydration, and other details like that. So which one do you want to work today?
I think that how past pandemics may have something about Parkinson's.
Good, very good. So this one is actually related to COVID-19 because they believe that COVID-19, of course, is going to have a consequence, right? It's going to have an effect, and it's going to be noticed only after some years, like it happened with previous pandemics. All right, people may be scared about this, but it's important to know it, to know how to deal with that problem. So the headline again, how past pandemics may have caused Parkinson's. Let's start reading this one. I'm going to select, please, the part. You're going to read everything, and I'm going to ask you some questions about it. So let's begin with that, please.
Okay. Surviving a pandemic isn't always the end of the story. Some viruses can have health effects that can linger on for decades, eventually leading to a range of devastating disease.
Great, thank you very much, right? The devastating diseases. So in this idea, What word or what similar idea can you use to replace the phrasal verb linger on? What do you say?
That that may cost.
Okay, let's keep working, right? Like a brainstorm. What else? What other words come to your mind when you read this, right? Some viruses may have health effects that linger on for decades.
Persist, maybe.
Okay, good, good. I think that's working even better. Correct. Something that doesn't leave, something that is still there, and it's even there, all right, even more time than we thought it was going to be. All right, that's to linger on. Correct, good. To persist or to be, right, longer than we thought it was going to be. Great. Now, a general question. As you can see, the main topic is expressed here. So surviving a pandemic is not always the end of the story. And that's why they say about the COVID. You read the headline, right? Parkinson. So what do you think that the article is going to explain in general, Camila? In your own words.
It maybe can explain how COVID-19 may cause side effects from people suffering Parkinson's, or can have an effect on what we eat or the way that we lived that can affect or can, I don't know how to say it, it can cause that someone gets sick of Parkinson's, because Parkinson's is like a, no sé cómo se dice, una enfermedad crónica, no es algo que nosotros buscamos, sino que no es contagiosa en este caso. It's like a chronic disease. Teacher?
Yes, sorry, my microphone was off. Yes, it's a chronic disease, and it's not contagious, right? Good, good. Yes, I imagine that it's going to be about that again, but also perhaps it's not going to be related to COVID and Parkinson's, but they are going to make an analogy or they are going to look for similarities, because the Parkinson's case is related to other pandemics, right? Perhaps the COVID is also going to cause something related to this, but perhaps it's also going to be something similar, right? So let's continue. Let's continue. I don't know. I think you were saying something, Camila. What were you saying?
I don't remember. Actually, that is maybe it's going to be similar, or we don't know it yet. We don't know how COVID-19 is going to affect Parkinson's or people that is suffering from Parkinson's.
Okay, very good. So having that idea, it's always important, right? To try to know more or less what this is going to be about, to have expectations, because it can be, right, that they fulfill these expectations, or they can be like a turn that we're not waiting and it's something different. To continue, please, let's read these two paragraphs, Camila.
Okay. In the 1960s, epidemiologists studying the long-term prognosis of survivors of the 1918 Spanish influenza began to notice an unusual trend. Those who were born between 1888 and 1924, meaning they were either infants or in young adulthood at the time of the pandemic, appeared to have been 2 or 3 times more likely to develop Parkinson's disease at some point of their life than those born at different times. It was a striking finding, for while the potential neurological consequences of flu infections have been documented by doctors for centuries, there are medical reports of this which date back to 1385. The sheer scale of the Spanish flu, which infected around 500 million people globally, means scientists could link a 8-10 risk of disease to the pandemic.
Very good. Thank you very much, Camila. So the first thing, try to keep that information in mind, please. Right? Try to keep it there. But I'm going to ask you to repeat certain of these words, and they are underlined. All right. Let's try to repeat this one first.
Inusual.
All right. In this case, if you realize there's like a phonetic like crash over there, in order to avoid that one, this U is going to change, right? The way it sounds, and it's going to be more like like unusual, unusual.
Okay.
All right.
Like
Let's repeat that.
unusual.
Okay. This one, how do you read this one?
Develop.
Okay. Develop. Good. The stress is a little bit more like in the middle, like develop. One more time, please.
Develop.
Good. This one over here.
Striking.
Good. Striking. Great. Right. The first time it was only like E. Good. I. Striking. This one.
Mint.
Mean is the base form. In the past, it's going to be meant.
Meant. Okay.
Good. Meant. And this one you didn't know, right? It's close that you were saying. It's heightened. Heightened. Good. Exactly. Good. So first, in general, Camila, please, what were you able to get about these two paragraphs?
I think that's the most important like phrase is when they said that people that were born before the Spanish influenza appear to have like 2 or 3 times the chance to develop Parkinson's. And after that, the other important thing that it says is that the doctors were studying the potential of the neurological consequences from the flu infections.
All right. For the first affirmation that you were working on, when you were saying people that were born before, right, the Spanish influenza. So are you telling me that this is something related to people who were not part of the Spanish influenza, or are they talking about the population who was part of the Spanish influenza, who suffered that, let's say, the consequences from it, and because of that virus, they are more likely to develop certain things? So what is your specific idea in that part?
Actually, is there is the people who were infants or young adults in the time of the Spanish influenza.
So it is that this virus like increased, right, the possibility of developing something. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, the last things before finishing. This one, what do you think is the meaning of this word here? It says that long-term, right, prognosis of survivors of 1918 Spanish influenza, blah, 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 blah. How can you replace this word, or how can you explain it?
Prognosis is like, I don't know how to say it. It's something that is going to happen. It's like the thing that we are going to hope to see the result.
Okay, good. Great. It's related. You can even relate it in English to prediction or foretelling something, right? To foretell about someone. Good. In this part, the last one is this one, sheer. How do you think that they are using? How can you replace or explain this word here? The sheer scale of the Spanish flu.
It's like now we know like the big wave, the quantity, the great scale, the quantity of cases maybe.
All right. In that one, let's be more precise. If I give you these two options, if I tell you the sheer scale is similar to first, the whole, the complete scale, the pure scale, or only a part of the scale, only the let's say, yes, a part of that scale. Which one do you think fits better for a sheer scale? The pure, the mere, the complete, or the partial scale?
I think that the partial scale, because it's like the big part.
Okay. In this case, sheer is very interesting If you take a look at the dictionary, it has two possible meanings, all right? One related to this concept is the one that says it's pure. It's like saying pure, or actually it's going to be as saying complete. It means the scale itself of the Spanish flu, all right, meant scientists could link, right, a heightened risk of disease to the pandemic. It means that the pure scale, only the scale, all right, the complete scale, and not any other data or information can give us this conclusion. All right. I don't know if you have questions about this word, Camila, to finish today.
No, actually, it's like the scale. It's only the scale. Like if we're talking about COVID, it's like the wave, only the wave.
Exactly. That itself, without any other interference, all right, of anything else, only that can tell us something. And in this case, only the Spanish scale can tell us this information without any other variables. That would be it. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's it. Again, it's good. I know that we only read these paragraphs, but we're going to continue working on this article next conversation. Camila, do you have any questions before finishing today?
No, teacher, everything is clear. Actually, I have one question about the links that you left on the presentations.
Yes.
In one of them, when I was practicing, I think that it was let, make, and get. When I was doing it, they showed me like two results that we don't learn about, and I am not sure that if the page is wrong or we don't know that these specific I don't know, formulas or something like that. I am trying to find it.
Okay, try to share your screen if you can, please, Camila. Yes, because actually there's a second part related to these causative verbs that we're going to learn at the end of the course. There are many ways in which we can use those verbs, right? Causative verbs in the way we learned in the first lesson, it's only one way of using them, right? Using the base form or using the infinitive. But also you can conjugate those in a different ways, for example, like in passive voice, to have like a different formula. But again, it depends the meaning of that idea, Camila. I don't know if you have it there so that you can show me.
Yes, actually, it's here. And my question was about one of these sentences. I don't remember which one. But actually, the main problem was that we said that the verb need to be in present, but in these examples, the correct answer was in past.
Great, yes. So yes, actually the answer is going to be, as I was telling you, the last lesson, and actually it's going to be the last lesson of this course, all right? It's going to be passive causative, all right? This one were causative verbs. The last lesson is going to be passive causative. And in the passive causative, you're going to learn how to use the verbs have and get with the past participle of the verb. But if you realize when you use the past participle, you don't mention a person after the verb. For example, it says his work. It's not a person. You mention an object. When you mention an object, you're not going to use the base form. You have to use the past participle. All right. But again, that's something we're going to learn on the last lesson of this course. All right.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Very good. You're welcome, Camila. So have a good night. I don't know if you were able to answer to the questions, Camila. It's also down below next to chat. The questions are already there for you to be answered.
It's set. I already did it.
Great. Thank you very much then for being here. I'll see you tomorrow for the next class. All right. Good night.
Thank you, teacher. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.